Hello students, Namaskar. Myself Mukesh Sipal, Assistant Professor, School of Agriculture, ITM University, Gwalior. So today I am going to deliver my lecture on the topic matrix. Okay. So what is matrix? Matrix actually is an arrangement of numbers in row and columns. Okay. So there you have various numbers. So arrange that numbers in row and column. So that is called the matrix. So these numbers which are arranged in row and column are enclosed within two types of bracket. One is square bracket and another is simple bracket. And the matrix is denoted by capital letters like A, B, C, D and etc. The number of rows present in a matrix is denoted by a small letter m, and the number of columns present on a matrix is denoted by small n. Okay, so here there are two examples are given. This is matrix A and this is matrix B. So how we calculate the number of rows and number of columns in a matrix? I show you the process of counting the number of rows and number of columns in a matrix. So what is row? So this is the first row, this is second row and this is third row. So here number of rows are 3. Number of column, this is your first column, this is your second column, this is your third column and this is your fourth column. So here number of columns are 4. So the important thing in a matrix is order of the matrix. So order of matrix is denoted by a formula m into n, where m is the number of rows and n is the number of columns. So like in this matrix, we calculate the number of rows are 3 and number of columns are 4. So this is called the order of the matrix. So there is another formula or another trick. We say another trick for calculating the number of rows and number of columns in a matrix is you have to draw a straight line. Okay. So count 1, 2, 3. Here are 3 numbers, so 3 will be the number of rows. And here draw a line in the top side. Here 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 4 are the number of columns in a matrix. Okay. So like this way we can calculate the number of rows and number of columns in a matrix. So here a matrix B is given to you, and also in this matrix we count the number of rows and number of columns in a matrix. So draw a line here. So these are 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 4 are the number of rows multiplied by, draw a line at the top side. Numbers are 1, 2 and 3. So 3 are the number of columns in this matrix. So this is 3 by 4 and this is 4 by 3. So this is called the order of the matrix. So these are the basic things about the matrix. Now we will go to the types of matrix. So in types of matrix, the first type of matrix is row matrix. So row matrix is that type of matrix which is having only one row, but the number of columns may be several. Okay. So you can see in this matrix there is only one row is there, but the number of columns are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So its order will be 1:5. 1 is the row and 5 are the columns. So because it having only one row, that's why it is called row matrix. Second is column matrix. So in a column matrix, the column matrix having only one column, that having the number of rows may be vary. Okay. So that matrix that have only one column and number of rows may be several. That type of matrix is called column matrix. So in this matrix you can see there is only one column is there, but the number of rows are 1, 2 and 3. So in order of matrix we write m into n. M is the number of rows, that is 3, and n is the number of columns, that is 1. So like this way we can define a column matrix. Next is square matrix. So a square matrix is that type of matrix in which number of rows equals to number of columns. Means m is equal to n. Okay. So here you can see 1, 2, 3. 3 is the number of rows divided by number of columns, that is also 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so here number of rows are 3 and number of columns are 3. So due to that the number of columns and number of rows are same. So that's why it is called square matrix. So one thing that is also important in the square matrix is the leading diagonal, or it is also called principal diagonal of the matrix. So you can see there is a diagonal is shown in this matrix. So this diagonal is called leading diagonal or principal diagonal of the matrix. Okay, so the elements in this leading diagonals are A11, A22 and A23. Sorry, A33. Okay, what is the meaning of A11? First number shows the number of row and second number shows the number of column. So first row and first column, the element which is laid on first row and first column. So this is your first row. Okay, this is your first row and this is your first column. So the number that is enclosed in this rectangle, that is 4. So value of A11 is 4. Similarly, A22 means element which is at second row and second column. So this is your second row and this is your second number column. So what is the number that is comes in a rectangle? That is 9. So value of A22 is 9. A33, third row and third column. So which is your third row? This is your third row. Okay, and this is your third column. So which number is comes in this bracket? That is 2. So value of A33 is 2. So these numbers 4, 9 and 2 are called the element of leading diagonal. Okay. Similarly you can find A 2, 3 also. Means element of second row and third column. Second row means this row. And third column is this column. So it is talking about this number 8. Okay. So now we will go further, that is trace of the matrix. So trace of the matrix is defined as the sum of the elements of leading diagonals. So in this leading diagonal there are only three numbers, 4, 9 and 12. So add these three numbers, 4 and 9, 13 and 2, 15. So 15 will be the trace of the matrix. Next, diagonal matrix. So diagonal matrix is a square matrix in which all the elements other than the leading diagonals are 0. Means diagonal elements are not 0 but all other elements are 0. So that type of matrix is called diagonal matrix. So you can see in this leading diagonal all the elements are non-zero but the remaining elements are 0. So this type of matrix is called diagonal matrix. Okay. Next is scalar matrix. So a scalar matrix is a kind of diagonal matrix in which all the elements of leading diagonals are same. Means you can see in this uh, leading diagonals all the elements are equal, means 2. So that type of matrix is called scalar matrix. Okay. Next is unit matrix or identity matrix. So unit matrix or identity matrix is denoted by a sign I. So unit matrix is a kind of diagonal matrix in which the element along the leading diagonals are equal to 1. So this is your leading diagonal, and in this leading diagonals all the elements are equal to 1 but all other elements are 0. So this is denoted by a I. Suppose in future if you see I, that means you have to draw this unit matrix in that question. Okay. So next is zero matrix number 8, or it is also called null matrix, not non-matrix. It is called null matrix. So a matrix in which all the elements are equal to 0, that matrix is called zero matrix, null matrix, and it is denoted by a capital letter O. So you can see here all the elements are 0 and here also all the elements are 0. Here the number of rows are 2 and number of columns are 1, 2 and 3. So this is a matrix of order 2 by 3. Here the number of rows are 2, number of columns are 2. So this is a matrix of 2 by 2. Next is triangular matrix. So triangular matrix are two types. One is lower triangular matrix and other is upper triangular matrix. So firstly, the lower triangular matrix. So lower triangular matrix is a square matrix in which all the elements above the leading diagonals are 0. So this is your leading diagonal, and above this leading diagonals all the elements are 0. So that type of matrix is called lower triangular matrix. Next is upper triangular matrix. So in upper triangular matrix it is also a kind of a square matrix in which all the elements below the leading diagonals are 0. So this is your leading diagonal, and below this leading diagonals all the elements are 0. So that kind of matrix is called upper triangular matrix. So sometimes students get very confused in upper and lower triangular matrix. So I will share a small trick to keep remembers these things in future, so you don't get forgot which is upper and which is lower triangular matrix. So firstly see lower. if suppose we say lower triangular matrix, so the upper element would be 0. Upper elements will be 0. If we talk about upper triangular matrix, so that means lower elements are 0. So these are vice versa type. So if you remember this trick, that they are the opposites. If we talk about upper triangular matrix, that means lower elements are 0 below the leading diagonal. And when we talk about the lower triangular matrix, that means above numbers are 0 from leading diagonal. Okay. So next is symmetric matrix. So symmetric matrix is is a square matrix in which Aij equal to Aj I. Here i's denote the number of row and j denote the number of column. But in second case, j represent number of row and I represent number of column. Okay. So this will tell us that if we transpose the matrix, means we convert row into column and column into row, then there will be no change on the matrix. So that type of matrix is called symmetric matrix. So in this case you can see the row of this matrix is 1, 3, 4. If we convert this row into column, so first row is converted into first column. So first column is also 1, 3, 4. So there will be no change if you transpose this matrix. Okay, now we see the second row. Second row is 3, 6 and minus 5. And this will be converted into as second column. That is also 3, 6 and minus 5. If we see third row, that is 4, minus 5 and 2. So third column is also 4, minus 5 and 2. So if we transpose this matrix and convert row into column and column into row, so in that case nothing will be changed, the matrix remains same. Okay, so that's why it is called symmetric matrix. Okay, next is skew symmetric matrix. So skew symmetric matrix is a type of matrix in which Aij is equal to minus Aj I. Okay, that means if we transpose the matrix, then the matrix will be same but a negative sign comes in front side. Okay, while the transposing the matrix, the row is converted into column and column is converted into row. So similarly you can see the example of this question. So this is the first row of the matrix 0, 3 and minus 4, and suppose if we convert this, transpose this matrix, this row becomes the column. Okay, so this is your first column. So this is also similar 0, 3 and minus 4, but the sign is changed. Here it is plus 3, then it becomes minus 3. Here it is minus 4, it is converted into plus 4 because there is a minus sign comes after transposing the matrix. Second row is your minus 3, 0 and 5. So second column is also minus 3 is converted into 3, 0 is 0. If you write minus 0, it is also 0, and 5 is minus 5. So sign will be changed. Your third row is 4, minus 5 and 0. Now your third column is 4 is converted as minus 4, minus 5 as 5 and 0 as 0. So in this case you can see this only the sign is changed while we transpose the matrix. So I think you are aware about the types of matrix and what is matrix after this lecture. So we will meet in our next lecture. So thank you so much.